Hi folks! The Filipina P here. And after watching my last video, a lot of you noticed that I didn't even scratch the surface of all the stuff you should not say to a Filipina. So here we are with 10 more things that'll have her seeing red. If you want to get rid of your Filipina wife or girlfriend, pretty much any one of these following phrases would be a great way to start. Don't say anything while sleeping. As stupid as this sounds, you better hope you don't talk in your sleep. In fact, you better hope you don't make any sound at all, because a Filipina will assign the worst possible meaning to anything she hears. If you pass gas, it means her cooking upsets your stomach. If you laugh in your sleep, it means you're flirting with a young hottie. If you dream of being tortured, your moans of agony will be interpreted as moans of pleasure. And if the pain causes you to cry out for your mom, she'll assume you're having a passionate affair with her mother. And whatever you do, never admit to having an erotic dream involving anyone but your Filipina. Or in her eyes, you're guilty of cheating in real life. I know it sounds ridiculous, but we have a real problem separating fantasy from reality. And if you live with a Filipina long enough, chances are you'll get a slap in the face when she wakes up from a dream she had about you cheating on her, which means you're not even safe from what's in her head. We believe your dream state is some kind of truth portal to your actual feelings. So if something happens in your dreams, it's what you want to happen in real life. And anything you say while you're sleeping becomes a legitimate piece of evidence by the light of day. So just remember, if she ever asks you if you've been dreaming, exercise your right to remain silent, because anything you say will be used against you in Filipino court. Never say, "It's okay that you don't have any boobs." Guys usually say it a bunch of different ways, and I've heard them all personally. They say, "Don't worry, being flat-chested isn't a deal breaker," or "Boobs aren't everything," or "I still love you even without boobs." But no matter how you say it, it sounds like a birth defect. We just assume you're trying to spare our feelings. Kind of like telling your klutzy kid that it's okay that he strikes out all the time. You love him anyway. But we're not stupid. We know that the average guy likes the big ones, not the tiny little mosquito bites that we come equipped with. I mean, everywhere you look, guys are captivated by the sight of giant bazongas, so it leaves us feeling a little embarrassed by our lack of a rack. Now, there are some guys that actually do prefer little Hershey's kisses, but the problem is, we never believe that you're one of them. And of course, there's nothing we can do about it. Filipinas have some of the smallest boobs of any women on the planet, and we just have to accept the fact that we're never gonna be the perfect 36, 24, 36. If you want a perfect example of what I'm talking about, take a look at mine. I'm a 32 AA, which means I have virtually no boobs at all. Now, I know some of you guys are gonna say, "Oh, he's just doing the bikini thing for clicks and views." And to those people I say, of course that's what I'm doing. Like I said, I'm flat, not stupid. Never say, "Could you please clean out the refrigerator?" Now, it's not because we're lazy. It's not because it sounds like you're bossing us around in some kind of patriarchal power play. It's not even because it implies we don't know what we're doing in the kitchen. It's because you're asking us to do something that goes against every fiber of our being. To throw away food that's still sort of edible, at least by Filipino standards. Now, I know you Westerners like everything to be organized. You like to open your fridge and actually tell what's in there, but that's just not the way we do it. Anyone who lives with a Filipina knows that the contents of a refrigerator is probably gonna look like a scene from The Walking Dead, with chunks of mystery meat wrapped in foil and pots and pans filled with last month's leftovers stacked on top of each other with no way to identify the sketchy contents. It sounds like a biohazard that might even concern the CDC, but it's normal operating procedure for a Filipina, who would rather gouge out her own eyeballs than throw away a single morsel of food that might be eaten at some point in the distant future. Asking us to dump it all in the trash is like asking you to throw away all your spare change because it clutters up your pocket. Of course you're gonna save it, just like we're gonna save our food. We come from a country where food is scarce, so don't ask us to commit the gravest of sins by throwing it out. Never say, "Shouldn't we be using a condom?" Believe it or not, according to the average Filipina, you should not be using a condom, and insisting on one can cause an argument. Now, I've expressed my own opinion a million times that using safe birth control is crucial, but a lot of Filipinos disagree, and here's why. First, they don't feel good. Now, you might think it's only the guys who can tell the difference, but you'd be wrong. We can tell the difference too, and it's not as satisfying. To a Filipina, it also feels like a form of rejection, almost like a man is calling us dirty. Now, even though transmittable diseases are on the rise in the Philippines, and in some places, they're completely out of control, we still think we should be exempt from your concern, like, you don't need to protect yourself from little old me, do ya? Another reason is because we're told that birth control is a sin, which is kind of hypocritical, because in order to commit the sin of using protection, you have to commit an even bigger sin. But somehow, we don't worry about that one because it feels good. Just another example of selective piety. But maybe the biggest reason is because a lot of us secretly want you to get us pregnant. It's not like we're trying to get knocked up. It's more like we won't be sorry if it happens. Lots of Filipinos think that having children is the best thing you can do. And if you get pregnant with your child, maybe you'll even stick around. That rarely works, but we're always hopeful. And on top of everything else, since condoms aren't popular here, not a lot of stores carry them, and people look at you like a sex fiend when you ask for them, which is kind of embarrassing and humiliating, since we don't want people to know that we actually are sex fiends. Never ever say, "Your sister is beautiful." Even if you only mean it as a harmless and sincere compliment, do not make the mistake of uttering those words because you'll never hear the end of it. It's gonna cause friction in the family, and she'll be trying to find ways to keep you two apart, even though you just made a comment that was intended to be polite. Your girlfriend might start accusing you of things, and even accusing her sister of leading you on. And the tension in the family can become unbearable, to the point where I've heard about relationships getting ruined by a casual remark. And if you're thinking about actually pursuing your sister, you might remember that I did a mailbag video not too long ago about a guy who dated this Filipina a few times, and then realized he was far more attracted to her sister, and he was wanting to know if I thought he should ask her out. I try to explain how that would probably be a real problem in our culture, because once there's some kind of romantic link between two people, even if it doesn't work out, a Filipina assumes that the link is there forever, and she's never gonna believe you don't still love her sister. So whether you're kidding or just trying to be nice, don't even go there. Keep your thoughts about the looks of her family members to yourself, because this is a lose-lose proposition. You can thank me later. Never use sarcasm. Here's something you foreigners just do not believe until you've seen it for yourselves, but it's true. Filipinos have absolutely no sense of sarcasm. We don't use it, we can't spot it, and if you tell us your arms are tired after flying into Manila, we figure you must have a weird medical condition. We assume that every word you say literally means exactly what you said. We don't understand your analogies, we don't comprehend hyperbole, and we don't get your idioms. So if you want to avoid misunderstandings, choose your words carefully. One guy sat down with his Filipina wife to explain that he wanted to plan for her future, so just in case, he was gonna go ahead and get his affairs in order. And she started screaming at him and saying, "I knew it! I knew you were having an affair!" Another guy made the mistake of trying to console his girlfriend by saying, "Oh, you poor baby." She instantly got offended because she thought he was blaming her for being poor and calling her a baby. Another guy had a Filipina housekeeper that kept cooking smelly fish and stinking up the house. So with a big smile on his face, he said, "I'm gonna feed you to the pigs the next time you do that." And much to his surprise, she took him seriously and was gone by morning. Filipinos just don't have the same sense of humor that you do. Ours is more visual and slapstick, whereas you guys like witty humor, and you like to use sarcasm and exaggeration when teasing someone. You think it's gotta be obvious that you're just joking, but we don't get it, so it's very easy to hurt our feelings. In fact, what you call teasing is what we call bullying. So don't assume that your playful banter will be received the way you intended. Never say, "Your looks are so exotic." Now, I've covered this before, but you guys keep saying it, and I completely understand why. It sounds like a heartfelt compliment, something you'd say to let your Filipina know how blown away you are by her beauty. Unfortunately, you just insulted her. You just told her that she has ugly facial features, that her skin is an unappealing color, and that someone who looks like her isn't fit to be seen in public, so she'll probably end up working as an indoor maid. So how in the world did you imply all that just by using a single word that means the exact opposite where you come from? Well, in the Philippines, the word exotic means someone with very dark skin, who usually comes from a provincial mountain tribe with facial features that aren't in line with current Filipino beauty standards. Now, there's no way you can be expected to know all that, so it's kind of silly to get mad at you when you use that word. And yet, that's exactly what we do. In case you didn't know, being reasonable was never Filipina's strong suit. Never ever say, "So you're a mail-order bride." Okay, so this one's just downright offensive, and it's usually said by one of your family members or maybe a friend. But even if they say it with a big smile on their face, it cuts like a knife. Now, I think a lot of people are just joking, or maybe they don't realize how that term is like a slap in the face. But it makes us feel like we're some kind of product that you ordered from Amazon, like we had no say in the matter, and we just appeared on your doorstep with air holes cut into the box. We're with you because we want to be, not because you bought us or because you offered the highest price, except for the times when that's exactly what happened. Now, for your own personal safety, I would highly recommend that you never say this last one. "I'll come to bed right after I watch the new pee video." If you do say that, expect a very cold bed when you get there. And even if there's any boom boom later on, she's probably gonna accuse you of thinking about me instead of her. If that happens, just tell her you think I look exotic. It won't completely save you from the doghouse, but it'll buy you a little time to come up with an alternate way of watching my videos after she deletes the YouTube app from every device in your house. But seriously, it might surprise you to know that I've heard from literally hundreds of guys who say that they were forced to unsubscribe from my channel because their Filipinas gave them an ultimatum. It was either me or them. Now, to most of you guys, it sounds ridiculous that your Filipino worries about you watching a video with another woman in it, or even a Hollywood movie with a female lead. I mean, how are you supposed to avoid seeing any other women, especially on social media or on TV? Well, that's your problem, buddy, because according to your girlfriend, watching any other female that you might possibly think is even vaguely attractive is clearly equal to cheating. Now, obviously, I'm on your side, and I think that insane jealousy has no place in a healthy relationship. You should be able to watch my videos anytime you want. After all, I'm just standing here talking. It's not like I'm taking my top off or anything. Jeez. Well, that's it for this episode, and I hope you enjoy hearing about the things that can get you in trouble with your Filipina. And I'll be back on Friday with something that'll surprise you. Till then, folks. Sir, do you have any idea how fast you were speeding? Speeding through my video and not paying attention to a word I said? I'm gonna let you go with a warning this time. A warning that you better give a thumbs up on this video, subscribe to my channel, and visit my Patreon page for extra content and exclusive videos and features. Got it?
I don't even want to watch your stupid videos.
Alright, out of the car. I think this one needs a full cavity search, the hard way. And for the rest of you good citizens, may I suggest watching my other videos too? And remember, I can have you in handcuffs anytime I want.